The Super Monkey Ball series has not had a new game in a pretty long time, until this year with the new release of Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, and I played it, and what do I think of it? Well, I actually had a pretty fun time with this game. I don't think it's a bad game, but for diehard Monkey Ball fans, yeah, this definitely probably might not be a game for you. I guess we'll start off with the story of this game because it actually does have a story, but let me just say that it's like extremely basic. You're just chilling out until this new character shows up stealing Ai-Ai's banana. Eventually you get to know who they are, and you have to just go around the world and find these magical MacGuffins, and that's it. There's also these new characters in the game too. And these new characters consist of a lion, a cat, this sheep, and actually this like mysterious monkey guy. It's kind of funny knowing that a sheep, a lion, and a cat exist in the world of Super Monkey Ball, because literally in like the games it's primarily a world of monkeys. But I mean, it's Super Monkey Ball, so I could let it pass. But overall, the story is just extremely basic. I do like the whole exploring the world aspect. And speaking of like the worlds, there are a lot of unique themes in this game, like actually for a change, which is something Super Monkey Ball has been kinda lacking for a while. I'm not really sure what my favorite world in this game would be. Maybe this one, but there's also this other one I do like too, like this futuristic city. I do feel like the story in this game did have the potential to be like Super Monkey Ball 2, where it's just really absurd and off the walls. I mean, I guess it kinda does have those moments every once in a while, but it's just kind of an underwhelming story the game has. I will get into the gameplay in a second, but I do want to talk about, well, like the hub area this game has, because it has a hub area, and I do genuinely dig it. I think it's cool seeing the characters just hang around it and do stuff. It honestly has far more personality than the last game, but you know, you can like buy stuff, like different costumes, you know, little stuff like that. There's also mini games you can play, but don't worry, I'll get into those later. So now I'll get into like the game's gameplay. So you have to go through 10 different levels, which are basically little obstacle courses you have to get through. This is for each world in the game, but you basically gotta get through these, and these do like vary in design a little bit. Some are just kind of like straight paths you have to get through, which is like, I'm okay with it, but it doesn't really feel like you can do many speedrun tactics with this sort of like straight levels you have to go through. I like when the levels get more complicated, where you actually gotta think a little bit and see, how am I gonna get through these? And you can find some really cool ways to speedrun through them. I did forget to bring this up, but you can do some little tasks going through the levels, which will give you more points you can use in the shop. So that's like a nice little replay value. I can't say that these levels have bad design. Some of them do have some pretty creative ways you have to get through them. Like this one level where you're like going through like many different tubes. I actually kind of like that one. But you will every once in a while stumble upon a pretty basic level, and it's just like, that was fine, I guess, but you can find like pretty creative ways to get through these if you try hard enough. But I honestly do think I enjoy the levels that are just more complex and you gotta like use your brain and figure them out. There are two different ways you could get through these levels. Do you want to take the more daring path where you might risk yourself of dying? Or do you want to take the longer path? There were times where I did a mix of both of these. I decided, alright, I think I'm going to take it slow, but this time I might actually decide to take the dangerous route. So this game introduces a new ability called the Spin Dash, which basically could be used as like, you know, easy ways to try to get through the levels quickly. As you can see right now, I had an epic fail here, but if I time it right, I could actually get through the level pretty fast. And I like this ability, actually. Like, I don't dislike it. I think it's a pretty decent remedy to get rid of the jump ability in the last few games. You're able to skip entire levels with this one ability alone, and honestly I think that's kind of what carries the game a little bit. Like when you try like speedrunning and deciding to basically just skip entire like chunks of the level, I think that's kind of what makes it fun. So I just want to get this in here. I want to get into like the game's like physics and its camera. The camera could be kind of crappy sometimes, like you sort of have to move it around when you're trying to get through the stages like every once in a while, and it's a little annoying. And the controls can feel kind of weird every once in a while. Like, it's passable, but sometimes it feels like a little slippery in some areas. I think you can kind of notice this when you do like the bonus worlds in this game. This game definitely does not have the physics like the old Super Monkey Ball games, but in its own right, I will give it something for like the new stuff it tries to do. But I did overall have like fun going through these levels and trying to figure them out. You know, doing like crazy speedrun tactics and just finding creative ways to get through them. You know, there's some good and like levels in there, but I had fun going through them. There are some level gimmicks they could have expanded upon in this game. Like there's this one level where you have to push something. That's like kind of interesting, and they just don't really do much with it, I feel. They could have expanded upon it, but oh well, I guess. I guess this gimmick kind of shows up later in the game, but not really. You're basically like avoiding balls. I guess that's sort of like the push mechanic like from earlier in the game, but not really. Before I get into like the mini games, I do want to mention like If you really suck at the levels, there is this little like tool that can help you out. Basically this like ghost thing you can follow through the stage in this rewind feature. I did use this near like the near end of the game because I just kind of sucked at certain levels. But like it's a nice tool to I guess sort of like help you out and teach you how to get through these levels. So if you don't feel like playing the main game, well, you can play through the mini games. And actually some of these are pretty fun, I gotta say. I like the one where you have to like, you know, avoid a bomb and then give it to somebody else so they explode. That's kind of a fun one and I enjoyed it. There are some other ones in there that I do enjoy, like the one where you have to destroy some robots and like the get as many points through the rings one. Like those ones could be fun. If you're playing by yourself, like you could still have fun, but I think when you play with more people, it could be a little more enjoyable. I'm not gonna say that all of them are great. Like, if you play Monkey Race by yourself, it could be kinda boring when you play against, like, the computer player. But I guess some of the mini-games could be, like, hit or miss here and there. There's not really much else to get into. I will say that I do enjoy this game's soundtrack. Like, there are some genuinely, like, good bangers in here. And the art style of this game can be pretty, like, inconsistent, where there's times where it looks like not the best, but there are also times where I think it could look pretty good. I just think this depends on how you're playing it or like which version you have. Like if you have the Switch one, I would just honestly recommend you just play this on your TV. But if you want to play it in handheld mode, then like that's fine. But overall, I don't think this was a bad game. I actually enjoyed it. For like the diehard Monkey Ball fans out there, this game might not be for you, but I enjoyed it. I had fun with what I played. There are some like good levels here and there. I enjoyed the music. Mini games could be kinda fun here and there, and yeah, that's it. I think I'd give this game maybe like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. Maybe buy this game when it's cheaper, or if you're just really bored and need something to play, then pick it up, I guess. So that's basically it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.